Most menswear brands raise prices and quietly cut corners the moment nobody's watching. These 8 didn't. We checked construction, factory location, and what actually happens when something breaks. And only 8 brands passed on all 3. Number 8. Suit Supply. Most tailoring brands hide where their fabric comes from behind vague words like Italian wool. Suit Supply prints the mill name right on the product page, sourcing from established weavers instead of unnamed subcontractors. Their full canvas jackets use a floating horsehair interlining stitched by hand between the shell and lining, the same method that lets a jacket mold to your body over years instead of losing shape after a few dry cleans. A jacket runs around $700 to $900, roughly 3 to 4 times what it costs to produce, which sounds like a lot until you compare it to department store suits marked up 8 to 15 times cost for the same fused construction that starts delaminating within a few years. The warranty only covers 2 years, but the transparency around sourcing is what earns them a spot here. Number 7. Ironheart. Most denim brands chase a lighter, softer fabric because it's cheaper to weave and more comfortable off the shelf. Ironheart goes the other direction, using selvedge denim that runs 21 to 25 ounces per square yard, nearly double the weight of a standard 12 or 13 ounce pair from the mall. That weight comes from double-twisted yarns woven tighter than typical denim, and the trade-off is a break-in period that can take months before the jeans feel comfortable. Owners who've put years into a single pair report the fabric holding up with minimal fraying at the seams long after cheaper denim has worn through at the knees and thighs. A pair costs $250 to $350, and there's no formal repair program. But the fabric is dense enough that most pairs rarely need one. Number 6. Filson. Filson's whole reputation rests on one fabric: tin cloth. A heavy cotton canvas soaked in wax that Filson has produced at its Seattle facility since 1897. Unlike a waterproof coating that flakes off after a few seasons, wax-treated canvas can be renewed by reapplying wax. And Filson still runs that rewaxing service in-house rather than outsourcing it. It's common to see decades-old Filson jackets sent back for a rewax and come out ready for another 10 years of use. Most of their bags and outerwear are still cut and sewn at that same Seattle plant, which is unusual for a company this size, since most heritage brands moved production overseas once they scaled. A tin cloth jacket costs $300 to $400, and the ability to keep restoring the same jacket instead of replacing it is the whole pitch. Number 5. Crockett & Jones. This is a shoemaker running out of a single factory in Northampton, England that's been in continuous operation since 1879, at a time when nearly every competitor has either shut down or shifted production to cheaper countries. Their shoes use a Goodyear welt, a stitched construction where the sole is attached through a strip of leather rather than glued directly to the upper, which means the sole can be unstitched and replaced without touching the leather above it. Building one pair reportedly takes close to 8 weeks from cutting to finishing, most of it handwork. A reselé costs around $80 and spread across a 20-year lifespan. That brings the real cost down to somewhere around $20 to $35 a year, even though the shoes themselves start at $500 to $600. The upfront price is steep, but the shoes are built assuming you'll wear them for decades, not a few years. Number 4. Schott NYC. Schott has been cutting leather jackets in the same New Jersey factory since 1913, the same place that produced the original Perfecto motorcycle jacket. Every hide is inspected individually for thickness and flaws before it's cut, which is a step a lot of mass-market jacket makers skip by using bonded leather scraps pressed together instead of a single hide. A Perfecto jacket retails for $600 to $900, and the estimated cost to produce one cites around $150 to $250. A markup that's noticeable but nowhere close to the 100 to 200 times markup on cheap leather look jackets made from reconstituted material. There's no lifetime warranty attached to the jacket, but 100 years of using the same factory and the same hide inspection process is its own kind of guarantee. Number 3. Barbour. Barbour started making waxed cotton jackets in South Shields, England in 1894. And by 1921, the company had already built out a formal repair and rewaxing service. Decades before lifetime repair became a marketing phrase other brands started borrowing. That service still runs today through a network of official centers, with a typical turnaround of about 3 weeks for a rewax and closer to 5 weeks for a full repair. Every jacket that comes through that pipeline is logged and tracked, and thousands go through it every year. Barbour doesn't weave its own waxed cotton. That part is outsourced. But once the fabric becomes a jacket, it's Barbour's own technicians handling every repair using the original materials. A jacket costs $300 to $450, and the fact that a coat bought decades ago can still be sent in and restored is rare enough to put Barbour near the top of this list. If you're still with us for the top 2, no sponsors paid for this video, so if any of this is useful, go ahead and subscribe before we finish the list. Number 2. Red Wing. Red Wing has operated out of Red Wing, Minnesota since 1905. And one thing sets it apart from almost every other bootmaker: it owns the tannery. The leather for Red Wing's heritage line is tanned at SB Foot Tannery, which has been under the same corporate ownership for generations, meaning Red Wing controls the hide from raw material to finished boot instead of buying leather from an outside supplier and hoping the quality holds steady. That control is part of why a pair of heritage boots can be traced back to a specific batch of leather. The boots use a Goodyear welt like Crockett and Jones, and Red Wing runs its own resoling and reconditioning program for the heritage line. Spread across a typical 20-year ownership span, the cost per year lands somewhere around $15 to $30, even with an upfront price of $300 to $350. The warranty isn't unconditional, but between the in-house tannery and Minnesota manufacturing, there's very little in the boot Red Wing doesn't control directly. And in first place, darn tough. It's just socks. But no brand on this list backs its product harder. Every pair is knit at the Cabot Hosiery Mill in Northfield, Vermont, with zero outsourcing, and the company attaches an unconditional lifetime warranty to every single pair. If a sock wears out, Darn Tough replaces it, no receipt, no questions. The only requirement is that what's left is still recognizably a Darn Tough sock, even if it's been darned and patched half a dozen times. A pair costs $20 to $25, 3 to 4 times a multi-pack from a department store, and department store socks rarely survive a full year of regular wear. That price gap only makes sense because Darn Tough is betting the socks will outlast the customer's patience for replacing them, not the other way around. In an industry where plenty of older brands have quietly walked back their guarantees after getting bought out, Darn Tough's warranty is about as bold a bet as a company can make on its own product. 8 brands, and the same pattern shows up every time. A factory you can name, a repair process that actually exists, and a price that lines up with what the product costs to make well. That combination is a lot harder to find in menswear than it used to be. So which of these have you actually worn? And how long did it last? Tell us in the comments, and if there's a brand you think deserves a spot on this list, make the case below. Subscribe if you want more breakdowns like this one.